Welcome to Stanislaus Football Weekly, and now for your hosts, Joe Cortez and Brian Vanderbeek.
Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Joe. This is Ron Agostini in for the vacationing Brian Vanderbeek, who is once again going to be at AT&T Park this week with with your San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, we'll handle it, Joe. You're a little scruffy there. It must be late in this football season, huh?
I'm growing a beard.
Yes, you have.
I'm growing a beard. Getting ready for Halloween.
Yes, you
I generally grow a beard starting in October and don't shave it till my birthday.
You're not still trick-or-treating, are you?
No. I'm a little down today, Ron.
Okay.
I went to the eye doctor. I got to get bifocals.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome to aging, my friend.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
it beats the alternative, I guess.
It sure does. It sure does.
Hey, Ron, last week I was over at Daniel Teixeira Memorial Stadium for the big Oakdale Sierra Showdown, the two undefeated teams in the Valley Oak League. Sierra came out on top in that game, 31-20, and now with the loss to Oakdale, of course, and loss by Oakdale and the loss by Pittman, Sierra is our lone undefeated team.
Yes.
And boy, are they good. That was my first look at them, and they are really good. They play tremendous defense. A couple of linebackers that really stood out to me were Trayvon McCray and Connor Melton. Just fierce hitters. And then, of course, Devin Nunes, the quarterback, and running back Mark Pauley, who's over 1,300 yards already at this point in the season.
They're ranked number one for a reason.
We got it right.
And we did for once. And they're good. This just in. Sierra is very good on top of a tough VOL so far this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we were talking about ideas for this week's show, and we came up with a little game we're going to play. Who's in, who's out?
That's the right game to play late in the season here as we're getting closer to the playoffs, for sure.
So let us start with the Modesto Metro Conference. We're going to take a look at where teams are at and kind of determine who we think will make it the playoffs, either by getting one of the two automatic bids or an at-large spot, and who's going to be home for Thanksgiving.
Halloween.
Well,
no, that's right.
The season ends a week after.
That's
November
right.
7th. Regular season ends November 7th. So let's start with the Modesto Metro Conference. Okay, Downey, I think you and I are in agreement here. They are the class of the league.
Yes.
And will get one of the two automatic bids.
Yes.
I agree. I think Downey will be the league champion. I think Modesto will be number 2.
Yes. They played the best game of the season that I've seen to date. That Downey-Modesto game was electric from start to finish.
Of any
game I've seen this year. And that was a fair result. Downey is the best team in the MMC, and Modesto is close behind them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, do you like any other teams to get in, or is that it for the MMC this year?
Well, Modesto for sure. The Modesto will play Enox, Bayer, and Davis. I think they'll be in good shape in all three of those.
I agree. I think they win out.
Yes. So I do like Modesto. And after that, I don't know. Not sure about Enox, Joe.
Well, even if Enox wins out, they only get to 5-5.
Right. That may not be good enough.
It's probably not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Now, Grigori and Davis, I see scenarios where they both get to 6 wins. And you also have to have 2 league wins. That's a requirement to get in as an at-large team. 2 league wins. 6 and 4 will probably do it. As we've talked to our old colleague Will DeBoard, who's now at the Sac Joaquin section office, 6 and 4 should do it. History tells us that that's kind of the benchmark. So I see Grigori and Davis also getting in.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm looking at the schedule. Grigori has Johansson this week. Interesting game against Enox.
Right.
And then they finish with Downey.
Correct.
So Grigori has some work to do here.
Absolutely.
They do.
But at 5 and 2, they only need 1 win.
That's right. That's right. And they
already have 2 league wins.
And they should get that 6th win this week
against Johansson.
Yes.
And then Davis, also at 5 and 2, just needs 1 win. And they have Bayer.
They have Bayer, Downey, and Modesto.
So it's no given.
It's no given at all there for Davis.
But final analysis, I like 4 teams to come out of the MMC.
Okay.
Let's move on to the Central California Conference, where Merced is probably, I think you and I are in agreement there. They're the team that will probably get the number 1 seed. Turlock is right there with them.
Yes.
They're going to have a big showdown on Halloween night to determine that.
Yes.
Pittman, with 5 wins already, just needs a win. They have Golden Valley, a winless team in the CCC, and Atwater, which is 2-5. So I like Pittman's chances to also get in as an at-large, or even as one of the 2 teams, one of the 2 automatics.
Right.
They will play Turlock.
Big Harvest Bowl game.
Yeah.
Big Harvest Bowl game coming up in a couple weeks.
That's right. Now, Turlock really has its work cut out for it. It has to play Atwater, Merced, and Pittman.
Yeah.
With 4 wins, it needs 2. It needs to beat Merced or Pittman to get in there, to reach that kind of magic 6-win plateau.
Tough ticket.
And then we were talking about Atwater. If Atwater wins out, they are 4-1 in the CCC and get the number 2 automatic playoff seed.
They would get it, yes. So if they win out, they're in.
But they have tough games all the way.
They have tough games.
Turlock, Pittman, and BC.
Yeah, no easy road there.
Okay, let's take a... Well, before we get to the Valley Oak League, we've talked about the Modesto Metro Conference and the CCC, and last week we sent our photographers to the Modesto Grigori game, the Enox Downey game, and also Pittman Merced. So let's take a break and look at some of the images our photographers provided last week from those games.
A lot of cool looking helmets this year, Joe. Yes, they have. And Modesto High has one of the best.
That is neat with the cat scratch on the side.
That's right.
That's sweet looking. And I like my Bears helmet. Usually a black helmet is not the snazziest thing in the world, but they've gone to the orange this year. It looks nice.
Nice look.
Hey, let's move on to the Valley Oak League, where this is pretty cut and dried in one regard. I think we know that Sierra, Central Catholic, Oakdale, and Manteca all will make the playoffs. I think the schedule sets up fairly nicely for all those teams. But who will be number 1, who will be number 2, and who will be the at-large, that's going to take a while to figure out.
To me, Joe, this has been the best league to follow this year. These 4 teams have been going at it all season long there once they hit league. And Sierra has the hammer here with wins over Central Catholic and Oakdale.
Right.
Manteca lost to Central Catholic and Oakdale. So we're looking at Oakdale versus Central Catholic in week 10.
So Sierra should beat East Union.
Yes.
It should be Weston Ranch in 3 weeks. Even if it loses to Manteca, it would still have a lock on the number 1 VOL seed.
It would.
As long as it takes care of business against the 2 weaker teams on the schedule there.
Yes. This has been a good season for Sierra.
Absolutely.
They won the VOL title, I believe, in 2009. They've been close on a couple other occasions. They've lost to Oakdale a couple times in some tough games, and it cost them championships. But this has been a special season for Sierra. It looks like they might get over and win a very tough league this year. And
Sierra's on that bubble right now. They could end up in the Division 3 bracket, or they could fall down into the Division
D4,
right, where they would probably end up facing Central Catholic again at some point.
I think Central Catholic would like that.
I'm sure they would love another crack.
Another crack at them.
Now, Central Catholic Oakdale meet on November 7th at the Corral. That's probably going to decide the number 2 playoff seed.
Yes.
I don't see either team stumbling to anybody outside of that game. And then Manteca, they have the Weston Ranch next week. Finish with East Union. And Sierra in the middle there. Even if it loses to Sierra, they finish 7-3, and would be a virtual lock to get an automatic bid. So we've still got a lot of maneuvering to do, but it's going to be those 4 teams.
Oh, yes. That Manteca-Sierra game will be good, too. For sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, the Western Athletic Conference. We've got a big game this week. We've got Pacheco-Patterson, and that's going to tell us a lot. The teams to look out for in this conference are Pacheco, Los Banos, Patterson, and a dark horse coming up on the outside, Central Valley.
Indeed.
If Central Valley wins 2 of its last 3, and it has winless El Capitan, a new program that's playing without seniors this year, arch rival Ceres, which has had kind of a tough season at 1-7, that would get Central Valley to 6 wins, and it would get them to the 2 league minimum. They'd be in there. They've got work to do, but right now I like Central Valley a little better than Livingston to get one of those at-large berths.
I'm looking forward to this week's game, Patterson-Pacheco.
Well, that's what we said all along.
Yeah, that's been the story there in the WAC from the first week of the year.
Right. Everybody thought that would be the championship matchup. Los Banos, though, firmly just snuck itself right in there and said, "Hey, don't forget about the Tigers." Los Banos is 5-2, and coming off a big 47-41 win off of Patterson last week. That's huge.
That was a huge win.
Who do you like to win this league?
Boy, that's a tough call. It looks to me like Pacheco.
I'm going to say Pacheco.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, but there are a lot of coaches who have told me in this district how physical Pacheco is. And when we thought it was going to be Pacheco-Patterson, almost everybody was telling me, "Watch out for Pacheco." Now we got to figure out Los Banos here, but I still like the Panthers there.
Be a fun game to watch this week.
Absolutely. Let's move to the TVL. Another kind of interesting race. We've got Modesto Christian sitting atop the standings at 6-1. Escalon is 5-2. Houston is 4-3 overall. And Ripon at 3-4 has a lot of work to do, but could conceivably grab one of those at-large bids.
Yes, their season's ahead of them, Joe. They go to Modesto Christian Friday night.
Tough game.
Tough game. At Escalon.
Tougher game.
And then they close against Houston.
Tough game.
Tough game.
Absolutely.
So Ripon's had a tough go this year. They're 3-4, a very young team, but they were forced to schedule up.
Right.
Because their traditional non-league opponents would not play them this year. This happens when your program picks up a few steps.
Sure.
And they had to play teams like Sierra, Patterson, Sonora. These are not normal Ripon non-league opponents. So I think they're playing a little bit better than 3-4 right
Absolutely.
now.
As
we'll see how good here in these next 3 weeks.
As we mentioned, Sierra is the Bees' #1 large school team. Sonora is the Bees' #1 small school team, and Patterson is a team that's been ranked in our poll all season.
Yes. So they played a legit schedule.
I think the #1 seed comes down to that November 7 matchup between Modesto Christian and Escalon. And right now, if I had to pick right now, I'd probably give the edge to Modesto Christian. I'm just kind of a believer in what they're doing. It's a fun story. 19 kids in uniform.
Maybe.
Maybe, right. Yeah, if all things hold.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of movement there. Yeah. In the Mother Lode League, we mentioned Sonora being the #1 team in our small school poll. I think they win out. I think they get the #1 seed. And I think Amador hangs on for #2.
Most likely. This has been the Mother Lode League's nightmare season. They've dreaded the year that Sonora would join them. It happened.
Under section realignment.
Under section realignment. And look what's happened. Sonora is rolling. They're 7-1. They've averaged 50 points a game the last 4 weeks. Since their opening 28-14 loss to Oakdale, they've run the table since. And these games have not been close.
Right.
So Sonora is one of the hottest teams in the district right now.
Now Somerville is 5-3, 2-2 in league, with games against Calaveras and Linden. I like Somerville to win both those. I think Somerville gets an at-large bid out of the MLL.
Okay.
On to the Southern League. Now, I don't know if you've been able to detect this. I've got highlighter markings on all my pages here. I have none for the Southern League.
Why?
Because I don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen in this league.
This is wild. LeGrand and Mariposa sit atop the standings at 5-2 overall, 4-0 in conference. Gustine has lost once. They're 6-1 overall. So they have 6 wins already. Gustine could essentially lose out and still be eligible and probably make the postseason. Ripon Christian is 5-2 overall with 2 league wins. Oristimba is 5-2 with 2 league wins. And even Delhi at 3-4 can win out and still get in. So that's 6 teams. 6 of the 9 Southern League teams are still in play here.
Yes, it's a wild league, Joe. A lot of good stuff happening in this league. Mariposa celebrating their 100th anniversary this season, and Gustine and Oristimba are going to play in Week 10. The arch rivalry there. They'll play in Week 10 for the first time in a few years, and that game could have some implications for the playoffs.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, should be fun. They'll be playing again for the Chief. And,
right, the big wooden statue.
The big wooden statue, and there could be some playoffs hanging on that game.
Who do you like to finish #1 in this league? I think it's just there's too much flying around here to figure out who's 1, who's 2. Who do you like to win it all, though?
Boy, I think it's going to be decided that last week between Mariposa and LeGrand.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that's the way it'll go. But Gustine was right there. Gustine led LeGrand 9-0.
Right.
Before they lost 22-19.
That's right.
They dominated the stats in that game, but gave it up due to a strong second half by LeGrand and some turnovers.
Russell McWilliams' Redskins travel to take on Ryan Oliphant's Grizzlies this week at the in Mariposa.
Yes.
That's a huge game.
A huge task for Gustine to win up there, but they could. I think they have a shot.
And then Aaron Souza's Oristimba club goes to LeGrand.
Yes.
Yeah, they're at LeGrand.
At LeGrand, at Waterford, and then they close with Gustine.
It's tough.
Tough to call.
Tough. I can't believe I'm going to go against a 4-time reigning Sac Joaquin section champion, but I like Mariposa to get it done and win this league.
Historic season. They got the game at home.
Yeah. They got to do it. They got to do it.
It's their year.
And in the Central California Athletic Alliance, we've got 3 local teams in this race: Stone Ridge Christian out of Merced, Big Valley Christian, of course, here in Modesto, and Turlock Christian. Looking at the standings, it looks to me like only Stone Ridge Christian has a shot to get in.
Yes, they're 5-2 right now, right, Joe?
Correct, but as you know, the Division 7 standings, the Division 7 postseason bracket is done a little differently.
Okay.
So I would think only Stone Ridge.
Yeah, I agree. Big Valley Christian beat Turlock Christian big a couple weeks ago, but I don't think that's going to be good enough for.
And Turlock Christian, of course, is winless thus far.
That's true.
This season.
Okay.
Hey, let's take a look at some of this week's games. We've talked a lot about some matchups 2 and 3 weeks down the road. These are games for this Friday night. Let's make a couple of predictions. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. We talked about Ripon at Modesto Christian. Who do you like there?
That is a very close game. I'm going to go with an upset. I think Ripon's going to beat them this week.
You like the way they're playing?
I like the way they're playing. They're coming on. They've earned their stripes this year with a harder schedule. It might pay dividends this week, but we'll see.
I think this is the game I'm going to be attending this week, so I'm going to pass on making a prediction here since I'll be staffing this game.
Okay.
But it's too close to call it. That's really a chicken's way out.
It is. It is. To play that card was... But that's okay.
All right.
We'll give you a break this week.
I wear bifocals, Ron.
That's true.
Modesto, Enox. Who do you like there?
Oh, Modesto.
I like Modesto
and
too.
And maybe big in that game.
Yeah, I think Modesto. I think you're right. Okay, Los Banos, Livingston. This is a big one for Livingston.
Yeah, Livingston's had a very nice season.
A storybook run.
A nice run by Livingston. It's heartened me to see a team that hasn't had a lot of success in recent years, stand up and be counted.
Sure.
I'd like that. Having said that, I'm hard pressed to pick them in this game, even though they are at home. I think Los Banos in a close game.
I like your pick. Los Banos here. Tigers is the pick.
Okay.
And then in the game of the year, the game we've all been pointing to in the Western Athletic Conference, Patterson versus Pacheco.
Yeah, that's one fans and coaches and players have all been looking forward to all season long. That one, it's a tough one to call. The way the teams have played, judging by their form here, looking at them from a distance, I would think Pacheco has a little bit of an edge going into this game.
I think you're right. I'm going to go with Pacheco in this game, but it's going to be close. I think Patterson's pretty ticked off after that loss last week to Los Banos.
Hard-hitting game for sure.
And then Merced-Buhack Colony. Merced we've kind of tabbed as the team to beat in the CCC. Who do you like here?
I see no reason not to pick Merced in this game.
We were lockstep this week, right?
Just about.
I'll let you know after.
Yeah, you'll let me know after that.
After the camera stops rolling, I'll let you know if we were in complete lockstep or not.
Okay. Sounds like a deal.
Well, that's about it for another edition of Stanislaus Football Weekly. Be sure to join us here next week. And be sure to go on to modb.com and check out all the other cool stuff we've got. We've got photo galleries, which you were just treated to, video, stories, of course. We've got the league pages. Every Tuesday night, join me for a live chat on high school football. And then be sure to check us out Friday night after the football games for the Pigskin post-game wrap. There's really no reason for you to leave your computer. No. If you're a high school football fan, just sit there and wait for us to throw something up on the modb.com and you're good to go.
And it'll be there.
It'll be there.
It'll be there.
So for Ron Agostini, I'm Joe Cortez. As our friend Brian Vanderbeek likes to say, go out and watch some high school football.